All right, we got to talk about what's going on with food stamps, the SNAP program, because this is just totally unacceptable. This is just wild to witness. So first of all, let's start with this. The other day, the Supreme Court granted the Trump administration's emergency appeal to temporarily block a lower court ruling that had required full SNAP food aid payments during the shutdown, and that allowed Trump to continue with a reduced amount of SNAP payments. So at first, Trump said, we're not going to pay any of it. We're not going to pay any of it. Then he said, all right, we'll pay some of it. Then he went back again to, we're not going to pay any of it. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court steps in on this thing called the shadow docket, which just means they don't explain themselves. And they go, we're with Trump. He can do what he wants. There's been something like 17 straight decisions on the shadow docket have gone to Trump. This is so vile and grotesque and corrupt and disgusting because what they're saying is, we're not going to actually set precedent and say, here's our ruling. So this applies not only to Trump, but to other presidents, right? A Democratic president. What they do is they give Trump more leeway than they give other presidents by saying, you're allowed to do this now, but we're not trying to set a precedent and lay it out for other presidents so that now when a Democrat comes in, they'll just not allow a Democrat to have the same sort of expanded powers that they allowed Trump to have. This is how they rig the game. So a Republican president can do fucking anything and everything they want. A Democratic president, sorry, you can't do anything. Oh, are you trying to reduce student loan debt? Sorry, we're going to block that in like 4 different ways, right? This is how the game is rigged. This is how the Supreme Court is an elite cabal of wealthy pricks who are hell-bent on destroying this country and screwing over working people. That's what it is. And so the shadow docket shouldn't even be fucking allowed. The shadow docket. I mean, it sounds as evil as it fucking is. So they step in and go, yeah. And by the way, the lower courts fucking hate this shit too. The lower court judges are going, well, what the fuck? I have a whole fucking decision I just wrote out here in excruciating detail explaining why what Trump is doing is illegal. By the letter of the law, he has to release all of those SNAP funds. It's not up to him to just decide to release none of it or only release some of it. I explained it in detail, and then the Supreme Court goes, nah, and they don't even fucking explain themselves. We're witnessing a coup. This is a fucking coup in this country. So at the same time, Trump is saying, well, I'm just not going to pay out on the food stamp benefits for 42 million Americans. They can go hungry. 18 million kids starve. I don't care. Look at what's going on at Mar-a-Lago. Ready? Watch this. I'm going to mute it because you got music. But what we're looking at for everybody listening to this show podcast style, it is, you see shrimp. You see all these different seafoods out there. It's a big old seafood platter. There was a big ice block that says CPAC on it. I'll play it one more time. And then you're going to see after this fucking bread lines forming in this country. Watch. So there's the seafood platter. Everybody's got the most expensive food, the nicest food. You can sort of see the CPAC ice block there too. This is what's going on. And by the way, they were also watching synchronized swimming at Mar-a-Lago. Here's the fucking bread lines forming. This is, they're hanging out in the rain there. Just disgusting. Now remember, at the same time that Donald Trump cut off the food stamp money, he also cut off 94 million pounds of food aid that was supposed to go to the food banks. So food banks, don't have enough food and are getting even bigger lines, and people are not getting their food stamp money. So this is, catastrophic scenario. And he is governing like the corrupt billionaire elitist that he is, as he's making billions of dollars from crypto scamming his own people, and as he's playing golf and having a fucking 1920s Great Gatsby party. As all that's going on, the airports are collapsing and people are starving, quite literally. All right, but I still have more. Breaking news, the Trump administration told states to undo any steps to provide full food stamp benefits to low-income families, threatening financial penalties if the states do not comply. It was unclear how that would affect the program. So what this means is, blue states had stepped up and said, okay, if the federal government is not providing the money for the food that the American people need, us blue states are going to step up and try to fill the gap until that money is back, right? And so you have like Kathy Hochul in New York was like, all right, we're going to make up the difference and you're still going to be able to get food because the state is going to fund it. Texas, by the way, has a rainy day fund with billions of dollars in it, I believe. And they were like, we're not going to pay. We're not going to pay out to feed our own people. So the blue states are stepping up. The red states are saying, go fuck yourself and die, quite literally. And Trump decides, no, I'm not happy enough with just me starving you as a representative of the federal government. I also want the state governments to starve you. So he's suing the states and he's telling them, or he's taking steps to tell the states, don't you dare fucking feed these people. Don't you dare feed these people. How is that anything other than evil? And by the way, remember, here's a guy who just sent $40 billion to Argentina, to the failed president in Argentina, the anarcho-capitalist prick who cares more about being a rock star than he cares about running a country. He sent $40 billion in a bailout to that asshole. He sent tens of billions to fucking Israel, right? But Americans, you can starve. You can go fuck yourself. What happened? How many times did we hear Republicans make the argument over the past 5 years? Why are we sending all of this money to Ukraine when we have people starving in this country? Okay, well now Trump is literally starving those people. What say you? Are you going to attack Trump for that? Are you going to say this is unacceptable? Are you going to say pay the fucking food stamp money? No, everybody on the right is lining up in support of this. Every right-wing politician is lining up in support of this or saying fucking nothing, which is tacit agreement with their emperor, overlord, God King, Donald Trump. So it was always a bullshit talking point. You never cared about people starving in this country. It's happening right now. Trump is doing it and you're on board. So the level of evil, stop and think about the level of evil that we're dealing with, bro. The level of evil that we're dealing with. When he says, not only am I not going to feed you, but I'm also going to make it so that the states can't feed you either. So Trump is telling states to undo food assistance. He's literally taking food from hungry Americans as he throws gas fee parties with giant seafood towers. How about this? Breaking, as many as 140 Head Start programs, which serve 65,000 preschool-age children, have not received federal funding as of November 1st due to the shutdown. 20 programs have partially or fully closed. This is affecting almost 10,000 children. So not having Head Start, you're also going to have a situation where these kids can't get breakfast. So great. I mean, just awesome stuff that we're looking at here. And if your heart is ice cold and that doesn't get through to you, well, how about this one? With SNAP benefits going out late, nonprofits are begging for pet food donations to prevent desperate owners from surrendering their dogs and cats to animal shelters. This is the sort of pain and desperation that's out there. This is what we're witnessing. Simply put, they don't care. They never did. They never will. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.